of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
do you have any hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday...
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within, or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
I never thought, or should I say, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Y'all didn't know about Donnie, did you? Y'all didn't know. Hey, why don't you ask any of the women here in America how he feels about them in positions of power? Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Now, when we last left North Venezuela, is that what they're going with now for DC? That can't be right. Soon.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
Soon. Is that Greenland? So then what would that make us? Like Southeast Greenland? She always late. Katie Miller is so cringe. She like the MAGA version of Soldier Boy. Huh? All of this. And for what?
Yeah, the United States is evil, but what gets me is we don't update our playbook on evil shit. We're about to go to war with Venezuela. I'm looking at this like, hey, didn't we do all of this with Iraq already? You're not going to do nothing new? Instead of weapons of mass destruction, it's fent. So they're taking out fishermen saying they're illegal. Drug dealers trying to bring fent into this country. That's why we needed to take them out. Motherfucker, we make the fent. You don't think that we know that we make the fent? You ain't seen one fent factory in Venezuela because they're all in fucking Oklahoma. What are we talking about here?
Trump. Hey, Trump, stay away. If you would have paid attention during the lead up to this, you might not have telegraphed it so blatantly.
Testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those.
Well, America, you ready to be at war with Venezuela? Because that's what you got.
Excuse me. Are you going to war right now? Where are you, sir? Are you in uniform making TikToks? I have so many questions.
Donald Trump just announced that he's closed the airspace over that country. And because, one, that's a violation of their sovereignty. And number two, because it's being enforced with our military, it constitutes an act of war. So that's where we're at. No congressional oversight, no declaration of war. It's based upon a foundation of lies from saying TDA was a gang connected to Maduro that was wreaking havoc in America, to saying he's a narco trafficker and responsible for drugs coming into the U.S., when in fact he supplies those drugs to Europe.
That's the defense I would use. Hey, Nick, that's the defense I would use. Your Honor, those drugs was going to Europe. So I don't even know. Look, if they brought them from Europe to the United States, I didn't have nothing to do with that. That was a whole different flight.
And on top of all that, he just let the former president of Honduras, who brought 400 tons into this country, facing 45 years in prison. He pardoned him. He doesn't give a shit about drugs.
One more time for those in the back.
He just let the former president of Honduras, who brought 400 tons into this country, facing 45 years in prison. He pardoned him. He doesn't give a shit about drugs.
And I would also like to sprinkle on top the fact that he's been talking about fent this entire time, but they put cocaine down on the indictment. It just, whatever works. Was y'all shooting dice for what y'all wanted to put on the indictment?
So we're starting a war. Don't know why. Nobody knows what's going on. It's going to go bad because if you look at the trajectory into it, it's the worst we've had in modern history. So buckle up.
Now, in my initial video in response to the mission to capture Nicolas Maduro, I propose a great number of carrots that might have driven them to do so, but apparently I was just scratching the surface.
Of course, the countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua with Russia relationships. Why this region matters with all of its rich resources and rare earth elements. You've got the lithium triangle, which...
I'm so happy 'cause today I found my friends in my head. Sorry. It's my favorite band of all time.
Which is needed for technology today. 60% of the world's lithium is in the lithium triangle, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. You just have the largest oil reserves, light sweet crude, discovered off of Guyana over a year ago. You have Venezuela's resources as well with oil, copper, gold. We have the Amazon, lungs of the world. We have 31% of the world's fresh water in this region too. I mean, it's just off the charts. We have a lot to do. This region matters. It has a lot to do with national security, and we need to step up our game.
Well, with that amount of resources, that probably attracted a bit of attention from elsewhere in the world, you know, if we value it as much as we do. While that only hours before America captured Maduro, China sent an envoy to meet him. And just a few weeks before that, China issued a new white paper insisting on its role in Latin America. Both have just collided with the reality of U.S. power projection in its hemisphere. So China had a whole intention of, well, the good news, at least they hadn't moved forward with any substantive investment in the region that they would be looking to recoup.
I don't think you guys know how serious this war with Venezuela is, because the United States is trying to go for its oil. However, there was a Chinese firm that as of August of this year signed a 20-year contract with Venezuela to buy up 2 oil fields to produce 60,000 barrels of oil a day. Bitch, do you think China's gonna let that shit ride? And that the United States invade Venezuela? Did they invested $1 billion in this project? Girl, the nuclear war that's about to go on, let me get my passport ready because I'm going to Australia.
I'll be careful out there. I heard the dingoes be eating babies. That's what. Hey, Donnie, are you going to abide by the 20-year contract? No, because you said you run Venezuela now, so you inherit the 20-year contract with China. So are you going to abide by that, or you know what I mean? Are you just going to throw your hands up and say how you want to carry it? Because that could be a problem. What's that? You declared your intentions prior to China? Project 2025. Oh, that's funny because I thought you had nothing to do with Project 2025. Isn't that what you said? I thought you had nothing to do with Project 2025. Well, here's the thing. You can make us all out to be idiots and reveal yourself to be Donald Trump for all the rest of the world and certainly the country. But how's that going to look next time you trying to paint a narrative? I know. And here it is. Project 2025 suggests U.S. interference in Venezuela's government on 3 separate pages. If you're one of the few who think an attack on Venezuela is meant to distract from the Epstein files and not part of a larger GOP goal, primarily oil, you are mistaken. And here you see those pages right here. The next administration must take important steps to put Venezuela's communist abusers on notice. They go on to say, in a world on fire, a handful of nations require heightened attention. Some represent existential threats to the safety and security of the American people. Others threaten to hurt the U.S. economy. And others are wild cards whose full threat of scope is unknown, but nevertheless unsettling. The 5 countries on which the next administration should focus its attention and energy are China, Iran, Venezuela, Russia, and North Korea. This leadership and collaboration must span all tools at the disposal of U.S. allies and partners. Now let's go ahead and put a pin in Iran, won't you? Let's sit with the fact that there was intention on focusing specifically on Venezuela, which was laid out in Project 2025. But here they are telling us it's about, what was that? Fent? Coke? Maui Wowie? Whatever they bootlegging. Here they are trying to sell us this narco-terrorism angle when they already have declared from their own playbook their intention to press Venezuela. And what's crazy is the MAGAs will buy it. The MAGAs will buy it. Project 2025 been out for a year plus. Kamala Harris was waving it around like Paul Revere and Patrick Henry saying the British are coming. And yet, here we are. Not to mention the fact that apparently they're not done.
Oh my God, no way.
No, Katie Miller, that wasn't a cute. Don't you got a podcast to work on or something? Nobody called for you.
But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again too. Nobody can stop us.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey, MAGA. Yeah, I'm gonna need to holler at you. What part of America First is this? Yeah, that's what I'm need. I'm gonna need the America First MAGAs, the ones that were pressing all the Jews and certainly the Muslims. And y'all know how they are with us. I need all my America First heritage Americans. I need y'all. What part? I'm missing the America First in the whole. Yeah, that part. That part I'm definitely missing. No foreign wars. Well, I guess it's not foreign wars if we capture it and it becomes ours, then it ain't foreign, right? Then it ain't foreign. That is certainly MAGA logic. I will tell you this, Donnie, though. One thing that you are going to need, if in fact this is how you're going to proceed, you can't oversee all of these jurisdictions at the same time. You can't oversee this jurisdiction when it has your full attention. So you're going to need to go ahead and put somebody in charge. Don't you got that woman, that Nobel Prize winner, that woman? It sounded like y'all was setting up you were trying to throw the alley-oop. That's what it looked like.
We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. Not only in oil and gas, we will open all upstream, middle stream, downstream. This transition to democracy is going to be the biggest legacy of this leadership for generations to come.
María Corina Machado is not a democratic leader by any stretch of imagination. She's been involved in every single undemocratic attempt at removing the government of Venezuela by military coups all the way back to 2002. But not only this, she's been, all this time, she's been a strong advocate of a foreign country, that is the United States, bombing the people of Venezuela in order to achieve her aims. And her aims is, and she's now basically selling the country
She was talking to a business forum.
Yes, in the U.S.
This is what foreign policy is all about.
Yes.
But obviously, normally you don't hear about it.
Normally they try to disguise it with other things.
These guys are so deranged, and they've been living in this bubble of impunity for so many years.
Yes.
That they're just blurting it out.
Yeah.
That was the lady that they gave the Nobel Prize. That was the Nobel Prize winner. Did they see this, or did they do any other? Who giving out the Nobel Prize? That's who they gave it to. These must be the same people that vetted the cabinet. They didn't do a Google search or nothing. These are the same people that was working at Doge, who was putting that website together, having to delete stuff every other day. That's who they gave the Nobel Prize. Trump, that's who you put in charge?
Try to take over the world.
U.S. invasion of Venezuela is to take out Maduro and put María Corina Machado, a Zionist who says she'll visit Israel as soon as she wins. She says Venezuela will be Israel's greatest ally in Latin America and will move their embassy to Jerusalem. Okay.
I would like to thank Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel.
I promise we one day will have a close relationship between Venezuela and Israel.
I myself look forward to visit the State of Israel as soon as we conquer freedom. We will prevail.
And I can announce this, that our government will move our Israeli embassy to Jerusalem.
Israel PR got to be working 25 hours a day. I mean, really, they kicked their way into just about everything. Charlie Kirk, somehow they wound up in it. Venezuela, somehow they wound. I'm like, bruh, this is always, how does that work?
President Trump promised to get America, as you know, out of foreign wars, not start new ones. Would he be going against that promise if he did, in fact, go to war with Venezuela?
Absolutely not. If you're an American and you want Maduro to stay in power, man, have you lost your way?
Ask yourself, why are we about to go to war with Venezuela? You might think it's because of oil, which is always a factor, but in this case, I don't think it's the main driver, despite what the mainstream media is trying to tell us. The real reason, I think, is because a certain other foreign country told us to, allegedly. This is reporting from the most popular newspaper in Israel. They say, quote, since Hugo Chavez's rise to power, Venezuela has become one of the most hostile countries to Israel and Zionism in Latin America. His successor continued the anti-Israel line with even more intensity. Thus, Venezuela, which previously maintained warm relations with Israel and even purchased security technologies from it, became a center of hostile propaganda towards Zionism and the Jewish state. Yep, they want to get rid of Maduro to install this lady named María Corina Machado. She was asked, will you restore diplomatic relations with Israel and establish Venezuela's embassy location in Jerusalem as President Donald Trump did? And she replied, quote, yes, certainly. Venezuela will be Israel's closest ally in Latin America. We rely on Israel's support in dismantling Maduro's crime regime and in the transition to democracy. Together, we will lead a global struggle against crime and terror. The Venezuelan people deeply admire Israel and will always defend its right to live in peace without threat to its existence. Also, another tell, if you didn't notice, is that Lindsey Graham, the senator of South Carolina, is literally in Tel Aviv receiving these marching orders.
It did say Tel Aviv. It did say Tel Aviv. I didn't see that before. That was thorough. That was thorough. Trump, she'll move.
Aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President.
Do you have any hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday.
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
I never thought. Or should I say, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Y'all didn't know about Donnie, did you? Y'all didn't know. Hey, why don't you ask any of the women here in America how he feels about them in positions of power?
Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
When I come home and dinner's not ready, I go through the roof.
Let's talk about our great women, as women have gone through a lot.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be attacked.
As president, I have to be your protector.
Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free.
You wouldn't have your job if you weren't beautiful.
Yeah, this man just said quiet piggy to the whole one. He just quiet piggied the whole entire operation. And he didn't just say she didn't have the support. He said, or the respect, and then repeated it twice. Thanks for coming. Well, thanks for coming. That is how things go with Donald Trump. Ask, I don't know, any of the MAGAs. Ask any of them in Congress, as any of his past cabinet administration. Ask literally any of the MAGAs. That's how it goes. Matter of fact, you can ask Benjamin Netanyahu. You remember the look on his face when they had that press conference and he started talking about the Middle East Riviera? You remember that? Oh yeah, you thought it was a joint venture? Yeah, we go, put a nice little gaudy Trump sign on the West Bank. That's what we're gonna do. You know what? We're gonna have some girls in flute glasses all across the settlement.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
He basically told that lady she didn't pass the cognitive test. She did. I would put Machado in charge, but we gave her an invitation to go down to Walter Reed and take the cognitive test that I aced. And there's no way that she would be able to ace. So she can't. I mean, if he would have kept talking 50-50, he would have gone with low IQ. 50-50, he would have gone with low IQ if he kept I don't know what happens next. The one thing you can say, if you can somehow find a way to stick around, maybe you can rebuild the relationship like Netanyahu did.
There is speculation that America is about to go to war with Venezuela. And I want you guys to know that this is beyond just stealing Venezuela's oil and resources. This is about going to war with Iran, and I need you to lock in. These are the top 3 countries with the most oil: Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Saudi Arabia is America's bitch. You know who's not America's bitch?
Detroit, Chicago, DC, Baltimore. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Venezuela and Iran. Iran and Venezuela have been allies since the 1950s. Both countries are an economic lifeline for each other. They trade gold, oil, they share military and security intelligence, and they both have a shared hatred for America, mainly because America is a bully.
Hey, Go ahead. No, you got it. You got it. You got it.
Point blank, period. America wants these countries to get on their knees and kiss the ring. And countries like Venezuela and Iran are basically like, no, suck on this. And that threatens America's power, right? Because not only are they saying no, they have a lot of oil, which makes them another threat. And then the fact that the U.S. in retaliation put sanctions on countries like, Venezuela and Iran, they're still able to prosper. They're still self-sustaining. And that threatens America's power. And so America has been fucking with Iran for a minute, right? There's been CIA coups in Iran in the 1950s. They had Saddam Hussein go to war with Iran. I mean, this year alone, America went to war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And this is the most important piece of all of this. Israel doesn't just want Palestine. It wants all of the Middle East. And this is Netanyahu holding up a map of the new Middle East, which is basically the Greater Israel Project. And Netanyahu has been extremely public about his ambitions. This is him talking about the Greater Israel Project at the United Nations.
That was so much to unpack. Now, first, remember when I told you to put a pin in Iran, which was in Project 2025. Also, keep in mind, just the mere fact that they hold the oil reserves that they do already triggers something else that we saw in Project 2025. It wasn't just about America's safety. It was about preservation of business interests, which that would happen to be one, both prior to and certainly after commandeering Venezuela's reserves. But I wouldn't have believed that Israel would have put forth a whole map for a long-term plan on what the Middle East would look like and then engage in this kind of activity in order to make it happen if I hadn't also read just about every step-by-step thing that's happened over the course of the past year in Project 2025 vis-a-vis this administration. So apparently that is how they roll these days.
In June of this year, Netanyahu had convinced Donald Trump that now was the time to attack Iran. So Israel attacks Iran and then gets their ass handed to them. So much so that the U.S. has to intervene. Iran won the 12-day war. The United States had to step in and call for a truce. America and Israel severely underestimated Iran's capabilities, and that threatened America's power. So now America is willing to go to war with Venezuela and steal their oil and resources because they're going to use that oil for their endgame war with Iran. Iran is the last man standing. If Iran falls, that is the end of the Middle East. And the other side of this is that America's willing to go down for Israel. Let me tell you something. There's only one country that has ever used a nuclear bomb. That's the United States of America. And there's only one country in the Middle East that would use a nuclear bomb, and that's Israel. We all need to lock in and stop this shit.
I got a question. When you said America's willing to go down for Israel, who that? Who name names, because that. You know what I mean?
Hey, you do understand that Trump's war with Venezuela has very little to do with narco-terrorists and has everything to do with the state of Israel, right? And before you think to yourself, what does that even mean? Let me explain to you what's happening. Israel is getting ready to bomb Iran again. That little war that we started earlier this year when Donald Trump bombed Iran was just the precursor for Israel to start a full-blown war with Iran, because apparently they're still developing nukes, even though Donald Trump said we, quote, obliterated their program. And what's going to happen when Israel and Iran go into a full-scale war that makes what happened earlier this year look like a joke? Well, the U.S. isn't going to get oil from the Middle East quite as easily, and so Donald Trump is taking preemptive measures to make sure that we can invade Venezuela and steal their oil instead. It's all connected, people. Just pay attention to the facts.
Hey, America First MAGA, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I got a couple more. I got a couple more for you. Yeah, just in case y'all still holding on to that whole America First, which is wild. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what line needs to be crossed at this point.
All right, don't cross this line. Otherwise, I can't support you. Okay, I can't stay mad at you, but this one for sure. Okay. All right, Mr. President. Okay.
And let's also be clear about the fact that if there is no line that can be crossed, your support isn't actually about anything. Like, I can tell you that there are no consistent virtues in MAGA, but then you have you guys moving the way that you move, and you make it so abundantly clear. You make it very, very easy.
This is about money, power, and control, any way you slice it. This does not fall under the AUMF because Trump designated fentanyl as a WMD, not cocaine. And in the DOJ's own indictment, it cites cocaine, not fentanyl. Americans all across the world now have a target on their back, more so than ever before, because of the President of the United States of America. The President of the United States of America, otherwise known as POTUS, is a pedo. And he would sell his own children and every single American if it made him more money. Russia, China, India, Iran, all of BRICS are about to declare war against the United States of America. While Donald Trump vetoes clean water drinking bills so that he can divert water for consumption to AI data centers, and freezes all federal funded childcare, regardless how you're registered to vote or what state you're in. There is nothing America first about this president. He wasn't shot. He didn't win. He's in the files. And he's going to take us into World War III. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the reality of the situation we're in. And if you really think any one of those countries I previously named can't sneak past our border, you are entirely naive. Keep your eyes up, because as I've always said, it will get much worse before it gets better. This is not a plead for the safety of Nicolas Maduro or his wife. I give two shits what happens to that dictator. This is about calling out the dominoes that are about to fall because of Donald Trump. Trump claims that because of Nicolas Maduro and his narco-trafficking, 300,000 Americans die every year, and that's his justification for this land incursion into Venezuela. What about the 1 million plus Americans that lost their lives to COVID because of Trump's direct negligence? If we're keeping score on American lives lost. Because going by Trump's own logic, he should be the next one overthrown.
Now, there are many different things in this particular video that really blew my mind. But I think the one that hit the hardest for me is the sheer fact that they put all of this stuff down on paper. The bar is so low for our media and for our voting populace. They don't expect to be held to account in any way for the stuff that they put down on paper when they try and sell us a completely different story to do the thing that they put down on paper. And you know what? This isn't the only example of that happening right now. And yeah, we gonna talk about it.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
I just heard that the Trump administration is freezing federal child care funds nationwide. What's going on with that?
Well, if you ask me, it's the next step in pushing the American working class deeper into wage slavery, straight out of Project 2025, and likely an attempt to force women out of the workforce and back into patriarchal gender roles.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the video. It's the end of another year we won't be able to explain to our kids. And what did we learn? Never trust a Jet2 holiday. Never take your side piece to Coldplay. Now that's neo soul territory. So much has happened in 2025. Last year this time, I was selling podcasts out the back of my trunk using rent to own furniture. Last year I was sitting the bench watching JV basketball as a senior with a uniform on, hoping I don't have to play. This year I got 3 kids and a trick knee. 2025. Well, look on the bright side. At least your year was better than Katy Perry's and Sydney Sweeney's. Taylor Swift came into 2025 thinking they were going to win the Super Bowl and definitely going to make a run this year. And she was going to have all that airtime. They lost that one. And now Travis at home for the whole off season on the couch, gaining weight as a fiance.
Damn.
But since it is the end of the year, I want to remind all of our members to check the community tab and vote on our year-end awards. Those are going on right now, and there's a couple of polls that we've run already. But you know what? I feel hopeful going into the new year, and this community is a big part of that. Also, the Let 'em Fight banquet is also another very big part of that. But here we're talking about this community. I'm talking about our head moderator, Miss Ray, Regina on research, and our editors, David, Denzel, and Boz, as well as all the mods that have helped us with the premieres, our research squad, which was just assembled. And by the way, if you would like to join either the research squad or be one of our volunteer mods, you can hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com. And I also have to give a special shout out to somebody who started out as one of our volunteer mods, but has become an integral part of this particular channel and has stepped up when needed. My girl, Deshauna, who also sent me this photo with her discouraged, depleted, but never defeated t-shirt. And you know what, Deshauna? It looks as good as I feel when I see your name in the chat during the premiere. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and thank all of you for all of your support. I can't wait to see what's next.